When it comes to the biggest moments in Utah sports history,
Say
these guys have seen it all. This is DJ and PK. DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. We are joined now by Donny Daniels, former Utah assistant basketball coach. Donny, good morning.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can. Thanks for coming on.
Okay, great.
Thanks for coming on the show. Alex Jensen. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Alex Jensen has a lot of friends, a lot of admirers. There is so much enthusiasm around his hiring. You coached him. You were an assistant when he was playing. I'm sure you're in his corner too, which is why I think you're the perfect guy to ask. PK always says, when everyone zigs, it's time to zag. There's so much positivity around this, and I'm sure you want him to win as much as everybody else. Do you see a big hurdle he has to clear, so that has to happen? While everybody else is celebrating, are you looking over here like, if you can do this, if you can do that, there's the toughest challenges? What are you looking at?
The biggest thing is expectations. Is he going to turn around right away? I doubt it. You got to give him a chance to build a culture, his culture. You got to give him a chance to get his feet wet. He's been a head coach, but that was 15 years ago, if I think, in the G League.
Yeah.
But I think he has the pedigree. He has the know-it-all. People want him to succeed. It's one thing when you walk in the building, everybody that sits in that seat wants him to succeed. That's a powerful feeling. Sometimes it's overwhelming, but I think he'll be able to handle it. And I know the Utah fans will be in his corner, win or tie. So I know I am. Yeah. So, but it's a great day for Utah basketball for sure. A great day for the city, the fans, alumni, boosters. So, it's all in a positive way. I mean, the only thing I think people would be happier, God rest his soul, is if Coach Majerus is the head coach today, But like I say, that's the closest thing we can get to it. And I think Alex is all geared up for it. And I'm really excited to see the progress.
It's amazing to think about this, Donnie. 30 years ago, he was a freshman at Utah. That was my second year on the beat for the newspaper. You and Judd, you were coming off a bad year the year before, but you guys, that really started it, the dynasty that I can call it, throughout the rest of the decade that you had so much success. And through the years, and he went on a mission, so he's gone for a couple years, but through the years of you being around him on a day-to-day basis, did you see this as a possibility that not necessarily that he would be the coach at Utah, but that he would be a one who would be in coaching?
Coaching and yes, I mean, he got connected with Coach, at St. Louis, that turned into Cleveland. And a lot of times people that get into coaching, nobody graduates from high school saying, I'm going to be a coach for the most part. But, he just evolved to it, just like I did and a lot of people did, coach, all the coaches, I would assume at some point in time, kind of this involvedness happened. Alex is a very quiet person, reserved. You can see him sitting on the Jazz bench, and sometimes, the only time he got up was during timeouts. So, but yeah, I could see it because he was connected. He was connected to the best. He learned from the best. And so, you just kind of morph into it. Yeah. And he has a great mind for it. He's very subtle in his ways. He's communicative. He's not a boastful kind of guy. He'll actually talk to you, and actually he'll have great relationships with the guys.
There's a temptation to hire all your friends and get the band back together. To what degree is that a positive? Because everybody fights a little harder for home and for their alma mater. And to what degree do you need different people with different experiences from different places who are brand new? What does that balance? What should it look like?
Well, I said, in my experience, he's going to have to hire who he's comfortable with. And that may not be a guy that he played with or played against. or it may not be his brother. You know what I'm saying? It's what he's got to feel comfortable with, and that's going to change too. If he's fortunate enough to have his job for a long period of time, he may come back to somebody that played with him or somebody he knows extremely well. But he'll get it right. I'm sure he'll have a lot of advisors, give him some input and stuff like that. But I just know that he has to hire who he feels comfortable with. And I tell you this, and you can't take it personal. I've known Al for 30. That doesn't mean anything. He has to do what he thinks he has to do to get this job going. I've got some, irons in the fire, but that might not work. But I'm not going to take it personal because it's just, you can only hire so many people. And so, but I think he has a good feel for it. What he wants to do. I mean, you don't even know. I mean, it's been 38 years. Let's say it's been 30 years since he's been out of Utah or whatever. But he's gotten new friends. He's gotten familiar with new coaches. So you just never know. But whatever it is, whoever he hires, it'll be great for him, great for the university, and a very positive thing for our Utah basketball.
How important is the dynamic of a coaching staff? And we always go back to Coach Majerus and then Donny and Judd. It's like Batman and Rum, Donny and Judd, Peanut Butter and Jelly, Donny and Judd. Everybody remembers because it seems like, and I was covering you at that time, you brought something that was different from the other two, and they brought something that was different from you. So just the chemistry that's needed on a coaching staff where each person is different from the other. How important is that?
I think the biggest thing is that you have to be aligned with what the head coach wants. You can't be obstinate and think, oh no, that's not good, because your head coach sees the game differently. Like when I was with Majerus, he was so advanced from the other coaches I had, and I worked for very good coaches, but he was so advanced in his thinking about the game, And then I wasn't like I was resistant or anything like that, but I just questioned some of it until I actually saw it work, and now hence 35 years later, I'm the biggest advocate of what Coach Majerus did, and can't believe what I was thinking when I was, a young guy. And Alex is going to go through some growing pains now. He's going to see things and see it a little differently and stuff. And college is different than the pros. And when it's all said and done, Alex is a pro coach. That's what he's done for the majority of his life. And so, he's going to have to find, people that can, that he trusts, find people that he connects to and listens to. Because a lot of times, you hire somebody and that head coach doesn't listen to that person, and so for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's huge, that he hires and, somebody that he's going to, listen to and respect and all that. And some guys hire just a person to help him coach and bounce things off of certain people, and that's huge. But as an assistant coach and stuff, you can't be afraid to speak your mind. Can't be afraid to, hunker down. But again, it's just like recruiting and stuff like that. Once you get it over and coach has his view, he's going to win that battle. That's not right. No, at the end of the day, he's going to do what he's comfortable with, and rightfully so.
How much has recruiting changed since Alex was recruited, and really since you did it too? How much has NIL changed? How much is still relationships, and how much is what is the bottom line?
The bottom line. That's how it is.
The bottom line is the bottom line?
We just paid in America a high school player who had not played 1 minute of basketball over $5 million. Yeah, he makes more than some head. He'll make more than his head coach. He'll make more than assistant coaches. I mean, if that hasn't changed the dynamics of college sports, nothing has.
Right.
And to some degree, they deserve every bit of it. I mean, when we're coming up and stuff like that, you feel that Huntsman Center, and everybody goes by the number 44 jersey. Oh, don't put the name on the back. Buy that 51 jersey. Don't, hey, and they got nothing for it. Couldn't even get a meal from a booster. Couldn't. I mean, it was ridiculous. Well, okay, well, in order to get home for an emergency, a surgery, a death. I mean, it was like, what? Yeah, I mean, so it's changed, but I think it's changed for the better. But I will say this: there has to be some kind of regulation. More power to the AJ Debanza. More power to him. Love it. It's great. It's the American way. But at some point in time, with these teams being aligned, the Big 10, Big 20, the Big 12, Big 18. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna really hurt the sport eventually because the people with the money, or how that goes. It'll be definitely an unfair advantage. But it is what it is. It's come to this. It should have been a long time ago, but now it's here. But now at some point it has to be regulated to where it makes little sense.
Understood. And that in 44 you were talking about obviously was Keith Van Horn, and those are real live examples. You just didn't make that up. He was packing the Huntsman Center, and the idea of somebody buying him a hamburger or whatever was just an absolute no-no, which seems so ridiculous now. And obviously,
I could tell you a story.
Yeah, I know you could. Yeah, for sure. I was talking to Judd the other day, and when this news broke, he was advocating hiring Andre Miller. He said Andre would be the best recruiter that he has. And he said when Andre walks into a room, everybody feels comfortable. Obviously, you played a significant role in bringing him up from Vermont Day, which I think is where you went to school too, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I thought so. And so Andre coaching in the G League, what do you think of Andre coming up to be an assistant to Alex?
It would be great. I mean, they're the same age. And they did the same thing. And Andre has a pro mentality. Alex has a pro mentality. So there won't be any. They see it pretty much the same. Not exactly the same, but Alex is going to want to play a certain way. Andre is going to see it a certain way. And so that would be fabulous. Now you're talking about a home run. You're talking about the people that, were in the 90s and, in the 2000, in the good old days, so to speak, they'll be way fired up for that. And again, you want all of this to work, and so that's the biggest thing. And if Allison's comfortable with it, Andre's comfortable with it, it'll be a great day. It'll be a double grand slam.
How much do you think they'll flourish in the player development area? Because I know the money's huge, but guys should still be getting better at this age, regardless of how much money they're making.
Now, with some of the money that some of these guys are making, let's go. Yeah, there's no development. You do this. I say this, you do that, we win. But no, I totally agree with that. That doesn't change. A freshman is a freshman. 18 is 18. It's the weight room. It's the skill development. Hopefully they're hungrier. Hopefully they're doing it all for the right reasons. I mean, that's the biggest thing about Utah when I was there. We developed guys, and especially when I was at Gonzaga, we definitely developed guys. There are 4-year guys. I don't think that's realistic now. I mean, I think you're trying to get a guy to just come back, a great player, a player that's ready for the NBA or close to it. You hope the guy stays 2 years, so it's that factor too. But I think that would change a lot of things. I know that's not. I'm just going to get away from the question. If they made these guys like the Cooper Flag, stuff like that, eligible right out of high school, that would be a lot better. Because it's really, it's really hurting the game when you have to pay a guy so much money and you expect so much, and that person's not ready for it. It hurts in that standpoint. But I think, but the nature of what we're doing now, you got to stay at least 1 year in college. And some guys are refined and everything. Like Cooper Flag, he is refined as any player I've ever seen. He's very talented. The kids going down south, he's as refined as anybody I've seen. So and like I say, and it's going to be it's a different day now. You pay these guys this money, and the thing is that's not what they're still an ultimate goal in mind. You when you pay them this money, this extreme amount of money, not just the flags and stuff, but all of them. There are certain expectations, and they can't get lazy. They still have a certain goal, and they still have to be working towards that goal. You just can't rest on your laurels because you think you made it. You really haven't, because you want to make it to the top profession of your sport, and that's the NBA. So, but I think that's changed a little bit. But I think you try to get the right guy for all the right reasons why he's at your university.
Sure. I'm wondering now, back then, recruit a lot of Utah kids, obviously, and then you guys had success in California, and now the Big 12, the Pac-10, Pac-12 doesn't even exist, which is shocking, obviously, to guys like you and me who grew up in it, and then they're in the Big 12, which is a great basketball league. Where do you think they need to put the emphasis in recruiting in terms of do you back off from California, or what do you do there?
You just find the best players you can, and it's got to be a position deal. It's not like you don't go in California because this and that. I mean, right now, a kid goes to California. A kid says in Los Angeles, "Oh, I'm going to UCLA." Well, you're taking trips to Rutgers, Maryland. Right. You're going. Stanford played a home game against Syracuse. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Like, what? They're playing a preseason game in the conference? Oh, that's right. So that you go where you can go. You go where the players are. You still have to recruit the players. It's a lot different. You fly the folks in and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's going to be, what can you give me? And it's legal. It's legal.
I know.
Yeah, and then and then you have to decide how much are you willing to spend. That's the big thing. You can. I mean, there are going to be revenue sharing. Football gets this much, basketball gets this much. Olympic sports get so much. You spread it around, but it's a delicate situation right now. And sometimes it's not about money; it's about a fit. Some kids really look at the fit and where you play and stuff, but I would say the biggest focus is as far as position wise, then you try to get a lead guard, and then you try to get somebody on the front line. That would be the two biggest needs.
It seems like the whole geography thing has never mattered less. The way guys move around in the transfer portal, they got the money to fly home, they got the money to fly parents or friends out or whatever. Maybe the hometown, somebody who's drivable within 30 or 40 miles or whatever of the school. But other than that, guys are just going everywhere.
And this is even better. Right now, no one ever talks about the summer job. One, they can go to summer school and get their scholarship check and their per diem and all that, or you just have a whole bunch of money and you don't need a summer job. Now in that case, and I don't know what it takes for a kid to still. I don't know if he has to be in school or the units or all that as far as to work out with the team in the summer. I'm not quite sure, but let's say if he has to be in school, then kids go to summer school, and and work on their game that way also. But and you got to remember, it's not so much kids going everywhere. I mean, the conferences are changing. Yeah. I mean, conferences are just swinging back and forth, and and everybody's chasing the dollar. Because that's what it's all about. I mean, UCLA and SC being in the Big Ten, that's crazy.
Yep. Yes, it is.
6 day road trip.
Yeah, I know. And then the coaches complain about it. I'm sure you saw that too.
Oh yeah, and the kids don't even go to school. I mean, the pandemic showed that you could go to school in your bedroom.
Yep.
And so a lot of kids are, and I know this is old school talking, but these kids are missing the whole reason to go to college, make friends, hang out. I mean,
that's dinosaur thinking, Donnie.
Yeah, I know. I'm dating myself. I got to be careful. I got to use some slang words here. So he's a pretty hip guy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
So, do you see any role for yourself in this? Are you going to be the uncle he calls in desperate times to when everyone else is down, the voice of reason?
Yeah, it's like this. If he calls stuff like that, I'll definitely take his call. I'm gonna definitely go to practice a lot more. I'll go to practice. I was able to do it. With Craig, he was very gracious and stuff. But no, this is a little different deal. Like you actually coach the kid. Well, me and Judd were talking about this. We were involved with Alex 6 years of his college life. Yep. We do the mission, but he's there, he's gone, he's back. And I tell people, I think this is a fact. I'm pretty sure Alex never lost a home game. In his tenure. So and I was a part of all that. I was a part of all of Alex's games. So yeah, so. He's a good friend. Good friend. We're all pulling for him. Even I talked to Doliak. Alumni. I think the alumni game. Not game. I should take that back. Alumni. Next year will be a lot more not positive, but more people will come to it because a lot of guys played with Alex.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a different energy, a different vibe. So, and like I said, this is the first time, to my knowledge, a Utah guy, in basketball anyway, who played at Utah is the head coach of Utah, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah, so.
I had someone tell me it goes back to Vale Peterson, who apparently was a Ute, who played at the Utes. So now we're going back.
Yeah, but nobody's alive now.
Yeah, I know. That was like 80, 90 years ago.
Yeah, I know what you wanted me to say. Oh, yeah, I remember him. Yeah, okay, yeah. I know you were waiting for me to say something like that.
Nice. You're not that old, Donnie. Come on now.
Okay, all right.
All right, Donnie, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate you guys calling. Thanks again.
All right. There's Donny Daniels, longtime Utah assistant basketball coach. And was back on the staff with Craig Smith there at the end of his career. So, interesting perspective from him.
I love what he said, that he'll be at more practices, and so will everybody else. And whether Donnie has an official role or not is irrelevant. He'll have a role.
Fact.
Yeah.
Fact.
And guys who know hoop will have a role.
Coaches will tell you that the head coach can be the loneliest job. You'd think you could go to the GM or the owner, but when times are tough, if you're about to get fired, can you really go to them? Who's the confidant? Who do you talk to? Maybe you have an assistant coach you're really close with. And Alex may have as strong a support system as a coach could hope to have with Donnie and Juddy in town. And if he hires Andre Miller, Josh Grant is so in Alex's corner. If you heard him when he was on our show.
Judd called Josh Grant yesterday to me a basketball genius. He said his mind is just incredible. And Judd went through, he's listing guys, Byron Wilson, and just all in all. He's listing all these guys that could help him. And I'm to the point now, if this doesn't work, nothing will.
This has got to work.
Yeah, I think it will.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Little news breaking while we were doing that. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to tell you what's new in the world of sports. And also, it's good. A little bit of a raw deal, though. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
And now, a look at traffic from the KSL Traffic Center.
Still seeing wet roads, but I-15 is looking pretty good from Spanish Fork all the way up to Ogden. Things are a little slow, though, as you try to go into Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons. Keep that big event energy big. Take UTA and skip the parking lot. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. With your KSL traffic update, I'm Christian Esparza here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present...
This is JJ and Alex.
Josh Grant, Utah Ute legend, joining us right now on JJ and Alex.
To me, there's one name they need to recruit the heck out of: Alex Jensen. There's nobody out there who has experience working with Rick Majerus, who understood basketball and could teach basketball as well as anybody in the country. He understands how Utah works. He understands the psychology of basketball. He understands how to get guys to play in the NBA. He understands basketball. He understands discipline. He understands defense. He understands the importance of playing together. He can coach that. He can teach that. I don't know that there's too many other people that get all those things that would want this job.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. For all of you, less motivated listeners, it's time for your 9 o'clock. Where the heck have you been headlines?
Where you at?
With DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Trajan Wealth, bringing the slacker headlines. Trajan Wealth, 801-899-7600, or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. So news breaking in the last hour, the Utes are going on the road for Black Friday. Again, not quite as far this time. Isn't it about time they get a Black Friday home game?
Next year. Be patient, Grasshopper.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, they'll be November 28th at Kansas. Now, they're always going to Kansas.
Yep.
There's just a question whether it would be Friday or Saturday, and the Big 12 put out all its Friday games. And that same day, you've got two long-standing Big 12 rivalries. You've got Arizona at ASU and Utah at Kansas.
There they are. The two everybody had circled.
I wonder why they have left the Territorial Cup intact at the same time.
I don't know.
And they haven't decided no.
Utah and BYU are bouncing around the calendar, and Arizona State are playing on the traditional post-Thanksgiving holiday weekend.
As they've always have.
Yep.
Yeah. And as an ASU guy, and I'm linked to the U of A, they're inseparable, and that's when they're supposed to play. It's been that way. I'm wondering if they felt that maybe, this rivalry has already been interrupted for a long time on that weekend, whereas the Arizonas went from WAC to Pac-10 and it never changed.
Never moved. It's always been the same deal.
Consecutively, it's longer.
Whereas Utah and
than
BYU
here.
didn't play. They played the opening weekend. They played the third weekend. They settled on the second weekend.
Right. It was all over the map. And U of A.
They did play one late season game in there. It was all over the map.
But that was
one time.
Yeah, that's because the Notre Dame playing at SC. Something you called out Larry Scott on that.
Come on, Larry.
And you called it, and Larry, no. And you said, Larry, you're wrong. And then Larry realized, I'm wrong. And so they had BYU as the member of the Pac-12 in that week every other year when SC always had SC or at Notre Dame in the Coliseum, because when it's in L.A., they play at the end of the year. When it's in South Bend, they play in October.
The thing that needs to happen, and somebody's going to do it, at some point ABC is going to put college football on Friday. We already see ESPN games, but when you go over to ABC, you get even bigger audiences. And we've seen Fox do it, and I think they did it with one Big 12 game. It was mostly Big 10 games. But
they do it with basketball
one early. I know.
They're on Fridays every night. I always check.
Friday's going to turn into sports night. Nobody's watching anything else.
What do they have Friday nights? I mean, I have no clue.
That's why they need to put sports there. Nobody knows what the shows are, and they're low rated.
Don't know?
I really don't.
Okay.
And nor do I know them for any of the other networks. I don't know. I used to know the primetime lineup. I don't know the primetime lineup anymore. I haven't for years. And
you got The Bachelor. You got where they go on an island. What's that show called? What's that show called, Christian?
Love Island.
No. I'm not talking about Hanky Panky. I'm talking about Survivor is what I was thinking of.
Shark Tank is apparently a Friday night show. I don't know.
See, he went right to the you-know-what.
Huh?
Well, he's still a newlywed.
There it is.
Love Island? What the heck is Love Island?
It's a TV show.
What is it? I got it.
A reality show.
It's a reality TV show. It's like The Bachelor. You know, they send
so
all these couples out to
is
the
it
island
20-somethings? Is it middle-aged people?
Yeah.
Is it the older because they did a Golden Bachelor thing?
No, it's like 20-somethings, and they're all, a bunch of single men and a bunch of single women, and then they encourage them to find the love of their life.
Oh, well, that's the essence of
it's cute.
Of life, man.
Shark Tank in 2020 is ABC on
Well,
Friday
that's the
night.
one where they do like some small town where somebody murdered somebody else and.
2020?
Seemed like all those shows.
Police turn to cutting-edge forensic technology to catch the killers in 2 murder cases. Put a game on. If it's that important,
the names change,
move it
but
to
it's
another.
the same thing every week.
It's so hard to program primetime. For all of that networks now, you can put the games on Friday, and if those shows on Friday on whatever network are so good, move them to another night and bounce one of those shows.
They should have Love Boat on, the Mary Tyler Moore Show, the Jeffersons, Love American Style. I mean,
NBC and CBS don't have... They would have to buy new games, but ESPN and Fox have already purchased enough football games and basketball games that they can do that with Friday night. And ABC did it with Saturday. I think we're going to see NBC with the NBA. We're going to start seeing NBA games on Sunday night where we see Sunday night football. That's coming. I think that's already been reported.
I'm fine with it all. The more the merrier.
Right, exactly.
If I want to watch it, great. If I don't.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, plug in sports.
I've got no life. So,
turn on another game. What the heck? It's not like anybody's coming over to the house.
Right. I got no family in town, so yeah. Anybody shows up on our door, we're thinking, uh-oh.
So Colorado is playing 2 Friday games, and you can't tell me Georgia Tech at Colorado on a Friday night on ABC wouldn't get a massive rating. And it'd be good for the Big 12 contract the next time the deal is up, which may or may not matter to some of the teams in the league because they may or not be in the league for the next time. But just as a matter of practice, I just think that's something to push. And if you could get it every week, great. If you can only get 6 games or 4 games, get whatever you can get. It's a bigger platform. More people can see it. You don't want this league to get buried with all SEC and all Big Ten all the time. And they are getting a good time slot on Fox, playing in that 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon slot. The problem is they're competing against some heavyweight games. So maybe you get more eyeballs on a Big 12 game if you played Friday night.
Yeah, but if you're a fan, you're checking them all out.
If you're hardcore, you are, yeah. But not everybody is.
I think most college football fans are.
There's a reason some games get 4 million and some get 2 and some get 1. And there's eyes on every game. There's eyes on Maction on Tuesday night. How big a fan are you?
That is all accurate. And I wonder. You can't track the games I'm watching. Now, most of the time I'm at a stadium, but if I happen to be home on a Saturday, it would be impossible for you to figure out which game I'm watching because I'm wearing it out.
Channel surfing like crazy.
And I have the computer, and I have the phone, and I have the television. Yeah, I'm all over the map.
I think that all the people would tell you that the numbers are too low. They should be higher. And the numbers were adjusted a few years ago. They changed the system to account for people who weren't watching at home. You know, hospitals weren't measured. Sports bars weren't measured. Dorm rooms weren't. There are all these places you could watch. Airports.
Understood.
And they changed to accommodate that, and all the numbers got a bump. And to your point, they could still be too low.
Yeah.
I believe that. They could be.
It'd be impossible to figure out which game I'm watching. Now, if it's BYU or Utah, I'm going to be locked on.
But you can still have a second game on the screen.
I will.
And especially because you do when Utah and BYU overlap.
And Utah State also.
Right. And you've been at stadiums on your laptop watching games. I've been texting with you.
Yeah.
I'm at work at a TV station. I got multiple TVs at my disposal.
Well, everybody is.
Right.
You go to a press box, right?
Everybody's got games on now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, the computer. You got the iPad. You got. Yeah, it's just we're all fans. I'm a fan of the game. I'm lost Saturdays when college football ends. I'm just wandering in the desert. I need Moses to come get me.
Friday, September 26th, TCU at Arizona State. Your Devils got one.
I'm going to be there. 105 degrees, I hope.
West Virginia, BYU, Friday, October 3rd. Conference weekend, I'm sure.
Well, I'll be preparing for my talk that day.
Okay, that's good. Anything else you want to tell the people about this show? It's been a lot of Alex Jensen talk. The overwhelming applause from the people.
I like what Donny said. If they had Donny Daniels, I'm speaking of, he just joined us, a longtime assistant coach joined us, and he said Alex and Andre, a double grand slam. That's going Fernando Tatis Sr. is the only guy in the history of MLB to hit 2 grand slams in the same inning. So if they get double A, Alex and Andre. That's what I'm going to call it. Just came to me right now.
You're stealing that from Wyoming. There's going to be a lawsuit now.
Double A. You got to be accountable for what you say.
Thanks, Kyle.
And I don't remember saying that.
Thanks, Kyle.
Now I go Joe Glenn. He said that'd be a double grand slam. The only thing better is if you just violate protocol and go from grand slam to triple grand slam. See, that's the tongue on the pole double dog dare you, where they violated protocol and they went to triple dog dare you.
Triple dog dare you. I did miss that. Thank you for getting me up to speed. Now I'm back. I'm back with the program now. Must-lose game for the Jazz tonight in Toronto. Jazz 15-47, but Toronto's on 20 victories right now, and that's the fifth worst record, and Philly and Brooklyn are on 21. They don't want to drop from 5 to 6 or 7. They're sitting a bunch of guys, as are the Jazz.
This pennant race the last 20 games is awesome, isn't it?
Jakob Poeltl and Ochai Agbaji are out. 2 guys with ties, one to the Jazz, one to the Utes. They're not playing. R.J. Barrett's out. Brandon Ingram is out. The list goes on and on.
And I saw a list that had Grady Dick out.
See?
And he's a Kansas kid who they drafted last year in the first round, and I've been
You were a big fan. You were touting him as a...
He's getting better.
All right, DJ and PK, that one's coming up tonight at 5:30, and the hockey game's at 6:30. The Jazz will be on the FM signal, 97.5. The hockey game will be on the AM signal, 1280, The Zone. We'll be right back with your feedback next. Stay with us.
And it's all over almost here.
Don't go nowhere.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
Travis Hunter said that playing both ways in football is harder than what Shohei Ohtani does in baseball. A corner and a receiver, you're basically using the same skill set. Shohei Ohtani is playing 2 different positions that are completely unrelated. Being a good pitcher has absolutely nothing to do with being a good hitter. That's like being really good at algebra and poetry.
You're Leonardo da Vinci. You're not Stevie Wonder. It's like, yeah, Stevie Wonder's a great drummer and harmonica player and guitar player and piano player. It's like, yeah, he's musical. Da Vinci being the greatest painter of all time and maybe our greatest inventor. How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, that's not the same thing.
What were you working with?
It's like Carl Lewis being good at the 100 and the 200.
What? How?
How is that even possible?
He's fast.
Hear Jake Scott and Ben Anderson every day from 10 to noon on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. And now, enough of us. It's time to hear from you. From all your texts, tweets, and posts. This is the best feedback of the day.
Ooh, I was there. That's the best game of my life.
With DJ and PK on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it is time for your feedback. What have you had to say about today's show? Alex Jensen is it for Utah Hoops. What's your reaction? You know Cheese Fries 73 is on board. Running Utes in the Final Four, baby. What did Donnie say was the biggest challenge? Expectations.
You'll be high.
Average home bear. He'll be a fantastic recruiter for all the guys not good enough for BYU. Oh, and so it begins.
We shall see.
Jardy says, little brother doing their best to imitate BYU. It's cute, but they don't have the momentum or the money to keep up. Curtains of shame will remain up, and Alex will be back in the NBA in 4 years max.
Oh, boy, that's a downer. But the money's a big deal, and BYU's got these guys that are there and willing to spend it.
Brian says Alex will go down as the greatest Utah basketball of all time. There will be a statue built of him outside the JMC, and many Utah fans will name their children after him. I'm hoping to be the next halftime post-game sweater holder for Alex. If you know, you know.
I mean, we know, yeah.
Chad, being a USU fan, my PTSD question is how long do Young and Alex stick around? It's a great hire for both schools and worth the risk, but I feel they're gone the moment of good success or a deep tournament run.
Well, that's the thing about with Alex. I mean, he is local here. Kevin Young, he's not.
So if you're local, there's a better chance you stay.
There's no
Right.
guarantees either way. Matt Wells played at Utah State, and then
he left and went to Texas Tech.
Yeah. So there's no guarantee there. But, Utah State, we look at Utah as being a bigger situation. It's basketball, football.
More
so
capable of matching the money for a lot of job offers.
Yes. And
whereas Utah State was always going to get outspent.
More capable of getting bigger recruits.
Right. Utah State was going to get outspent by a program that wanted their coach that had more money. There's nothing they were going to do about that.
But, there's nothing there as a guarantee as far as that goes. If it was a guarantee, then we wouldn't be talking about it.
That's true. That is true. We talk about the things where there's doubt going forward. There's no doubt that going forward, Jake and Ben will move into the studio, and they have tickets to give away to see the Utah Hockey Club when they return Monday night. So stick around. They are coming up next and giving away those tickets right here on The Zone.
Party time!
You have a great weekend, okay, buddy?